The Roman Empire, a sprawling behemoth of power, intrigue, and clashing cultures. In the 3rd century AD, a new force emerged within its formidable walls: Christianity. A small, often persecuted sect, it slowly gained momentum, navigating political threats and theological skirmishes. Yet the story of its rise is often entwined with myth and legend, particularly regarding the figure who became synonymous with its imperial embrace, the Emperor Constantine. The 3rd century saw the Church wrestling with theological challenges emerging from both the left and the right. Antioch, a refuge north of Jerusalem, became a hub for a Jewish approach to Christian thought. Meanwhile, Alexandria in North Africa blossomed into a Neo-Athenian center of Hellenistic philosophy that influenced Christian intellectuals. These two powerhouses clashed, representing two distinct approaches to understanding the burgeoning faith. Enter Paul Samosata, Bishop of Antioch, a man whose views would raise eyebrows even today. This was no ordinary church leader. Imagine the head of a major Christian center rejecting the Trinity. He dismissed the very concept of the Logos, the Word applied to Christ, even claiming the opening verses of John's Gospel were a later addition. Talk about a controversial figure. He embraced adoptionism, the belief that Christ was merely a man adopted by God at his baptism. Worthy of respect, perhaps, but not worship on par with God himself. His views on the unity of the Father and the Son, well, more like a corporate merger than a divine oneness, united in purpose, but not in being. Perhaps like the modern-day Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, in his theology, Paul of Samosata held views strikingly similar to this contemporary group. At the other end of the spectrum, we find Sabellius of Alexandria. His concept of God, well, imagine a divine fountain overflowing, emanating being into all things, a kind of pantheism, blurring the lines between creator and creation. Christ, he claimed, was an emanation of God, homoousia, or same stuff. Ironically, this very term would later be adopted by the Church to define Christ's divinity, though rejecting Sabellius's heretical context. Sabellius also gifted us with phrases like God of God, light of light, true God of true God, poetic expressions still echoing in Christian liturgy today. However, Sabellius's views strayed into the realm of Docetism, the idea that Christ only seemed human, like a phantom, a notion that the Church ultimately rejected. Amidst these theological battles, figures like Clement of Alexandria and Origen emerged, attempting to defend the Christian faith against the pressures from both extremes. These thinkers, though viewed as somewhat unconventional by modern standards, grappled with complex questions in a time when Christian doctrine still had not yet been cemented. The relative peace experienced by Christians for much of the 3rd century was shattered by the reign of Diocletian. A brilliant and competent emperor, Diocletian saw Christianity as a direct threat to Roman order. He launched the most widespread and ferocious persecution the Church had yet endured. Imagine empire-wide crackdowns, torture, dismemberment, even eye gouging, all in the name of extinguishing the Christian flame. Ironically, it was the good emperors, those dedicated to Roman ideals, who proved most hostile to the Christians. The more self-absorbed rulers often ignored them. Diocletian's reign was a tragic testament to this pattern. Diocletian, a meticulous administrator, divided the empire into a tetrarchy, 4 quadrants ruled by co-emperors. He died in 305 AD, leaving a power vacuum and a looming civil war. This chaotic backdrop set the stage for the rise of a figure who would forever change the course of Christian history. Constantine, son of Constantius, a tetrarch ruling the western Roman provinces, he served in the military under Diocletian, raising questions about the possible involvement in the Christian persecutions. Evidence leans against it, suggesting his duties focused elsewhere. But some argue, however, that if he did participate, it would make him a kind of St. Paul figure, a persecutor turned champion. Constantine's mother, Helena, was a devout Christian. undoubtedly influencing his views. He expressed admiration for his father's tolerance, observing the success of those who favored Christians. Was this genuine faith or shrewd political calculation? Perhaps a mix of both. The pivotal moment in Constantine's life arrived with the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 AD. Maxentius, a usurper ruling Italy, revived persecutions. Appeals for help reached Constantine, prompting him to march south with an army of nearly 100,000. The night before the battle, Constantine reportedly experienced a vision, a divine message instructing him to use a specific symbol in battle. In this sign, conquer. Myth or reality, the debate continues. Some dismiss it as a convenient fabrication to rally his troops. Others believe it a genuine spiritual experience. Constantine's lifelong insistence on the vision's authenticity does add weight to the latter view. The symbol, the Chi-Rho, formed by the first two letters of the Greek word for Christ. Constantine emblazoned it on his soldiers' shields. The Milvian Bridge, however, wasn't the sturdy stone structure we see today. Maxentius, anticipating defeat, replaced it with a makeshift pontoon bridge, an escape route he'd destroy once safely across. But his plan backfired. Constantine's forces prevailed, and Maxentius retreated in panic, and the bridge, overloaded, collapsed. The usurper, weighed down by his armor, plunged into the Tiber along with his troops, meeting a watery end reminiscent of Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea. Constantine entered Rome, not as a traditional conqueror offering sacrifices to Jupiter, but as a liberator giving credit to the Christian God. A radical departure from Roman tradition. He declared, and I quote, "By this saving sign, the true token of bravery, I've delivered your city from the yoke of the tyrant." A calculated move, perhaps, but it resonated with the populace. Constantine consolidated his control over the Western Roman Empire. His subsequent actions reveal a complex interplay of political expediency and genuine interest in fostering Christianity. In 313 AD, he issued the Edict of Milan, granting religious tolerance throughout the empire. Not an establishment of Christianity, but a crucial step towards its eventual prominence. He returned confiscated property to Christians, a complex act of restitution that highlights the devastating impact of Diocletian's persecution. Over the next decade, Constantine implemented laws highly favorable to Christians. Slaves converting to Christianity were freed. By modern standards, these actions appear problematic. Bribing people into faith, we know better today, but we must remember the historical context. Constantine, perhaps naively, believed in incentivizing conversion, an experiment that ultimately proved flawed. However, it's undeniable that these policies led to significant church growth. While motivations might have been mixed, some converts likely found genuine faith along the way. In 324 AD, war broke out between Constantine and his brother-in-law, Licinius, the ruler of the East. Tensions had simmered for years. Some historians suggest that Constantine sought this conflict out. Regardless of motives, Constantine's victory united the Roman Empire under his sole rule. There was a dark stain on Constantine's legacy following this victory, and it was the execution of Licinius and his son, despite a promise of leniency to his wife, a cold political calculation that tarnishes his image. It's a point critics often emphasize. In the very next year, Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, addressing the escalating Arian controversy that was dividing the Christian world. This council marked a turning point in Christian history, solidifying core doctrines and paving the way for the faith's eventual dominance. The Emperor Constantine was a complex figure, neither saint nor villain. He didn't build the church, as some claim. Instead, he provided a space for its growth, ushering in an era where the faith could flourish openly. His motivations remain open to interpretation. Was he a sincere believer or a cunning politician using religion to his advantage? Perhaps a blend of both. The Book of Revelation offers an intriguing image. not of a heavenly realm, but of a transformed world where the kings of the earth will bring their glory into the city of God. Constantine's actions, however flawed, resonate with this image. He brought imperial glory into the sphere of faith. The Christian message, once persecuted, now found a place of prominence, influencing art, music, literature, and the very fabric of society. Constantine's legacy remains a complex tapestry woven with threads of faith, power, and political pragmatism, leaving us to ponder the enduring question: what does it mean to be a Christian in the world of power? Thanks for watching this video, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe.